You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
There are so many things in the life of the duck. I mean, I'm out there a little, but just winding right down. You're getting, you're on the move.
What about you? You've been here, there, and everywhere.
No, I haven't.
You have. You've been in Horsham last week.
Oh, I was up there with.
How was?
I'll tell you what.
How was Horsham?
Excellent. I was up there with Doug Wade, and we were speaking about selling hairdressing products.
Being a hetero seller of female products back in the 70s.
That's right. You said.
I haven't stopped laughing about it.
Have we taken some, not a belting, well, sort of a belting on. Why are you two white heterosexuals?
What's white got to do with it?
I don't know. This is people say this because we're white. I don't know what it is.
Well, I'm quite tanned, actually.
But if we say we're heterosexuals, that seems to be taboo to say that you mention your gender. You're
allowed to say you're a heterosexual.
Well, and then someone said,
and some even try to prove it by having a number plate.
Well, you showed the number plate, which was a joke, incidentally, and someone said, if you're going to say you're heterosexuals, why don't you spell it properly? And I said, God almighty, hetero, then sexual is how you spell it, but hetero is just the abridged slang version of hetero.
Correct.
It means nothing. We're not trying to say we're heterosexuals. But
and metro.
At Metro, it's like and nitro if you fill your car up with, or it's just the abbreviation instead of spelling socks SOCKS, you spell it SOX. It's a joke. Someone said, hetero, you got to spell it right if you're going to pretend you're a heterosexual. I said, I'm not pretending. I don't think that Duck and I are pretending.
I actually had a lot of feedback about you around there selling, and also found out that there was some actual mates of mine, their grandparents, who had salons around the Geelong region, and
that's right.
And actually Dylan, who you've met,
his
grandma, right. And he said, geez, I hope there was nothing
untoward.
Yes, there was a question mark.
I didn't chat his grandmother.
Yes,
up.
That's what he was.
Right. Well,
he was alluding to whether you did or not, but you wouldn't remember half the.
No, of course I wouldn't. They're our clients, and anyhow, so we got a dice just chatting about, and we've just had on the weekend a Mother's Day. How busy? How have you fitted it all in, Duck?
It's a common gag.
You've had to have
over the last
running
years.
Uber just to pick you up.
Well, it's there's a lot of petrol spent going over the bridge back over, But no, it was actually quiet because one of the mothers was overseas on work, so that took one of the mothers off the table, so that was good.
Yeah,
and I was actually I was coming back. I missed half of Mother's Day.
You're coming back from?
I was coming back from Mount Gambier.
Oh no!
Went down there and saw our mate from MG Plasterers, who is Maddie and Marty. And
Marty.
The hospitality that they put on Sam is second to none.
So why did you go?
Another shout out, Big Frenchie, not feeling all that well. He was there, but
Frenchie and Maddie and Marty.
Yes.
Why were you in Mount Gambier, Doug?
Well, so I actually went down. So I took a couple of mates came for a drive. One of those mates was was down there looking for a bit of work. So
in Mount Gambier, what, harvesting pine forests?
No, he's
they're very big in the pine industry.
He's just opened up his new business. He's looking for some more work.
What is his
took him
business?
down there. It's labour hire, which there's
So you thought you'd go down and give him a hand?
I thought I'd just go down. Good excuse to go down and see some good people, and
so you travelled in a car with
a couple of mates.
The man who's trying to get labour hire,
Johnny
up
Mack
and running,
and Andy Cracker, the uncle of Andrew who recently passed. So Andrew's the brother of Jimmy and Phil. That's probably.
Is he?
Yeah, so I played with Andy in the under-19s and also seniors back in. So we won a premiership
you played
together.
With which Andy, the late Andrew Cracker, or this one that you travelled with?
Well, how could I travel with the late Andrew Cracker?
I said, did you play? You said you played
I
with
played
Andrew
with Andrew
Cracker.
that drove.
Yes,
To Mount
I
Gambier.
know.
We're also all Australians together in 1988. We both represented Victoria. He's a
which Andrew?
he's a Noongar, and
What's that?
He's a Noongar. He's from WA, and I'm from New South Wales. We both played for Victoria in the Teal Cup.
Oh, in the Teal Cup.
Under 18s,
Right.
yeah.
So Andrew, the Andrew
Uncle.
Cracker's the brother of Jimmy and Phil. Andrew,
Yes.
he drove you down to Mount
He was
Gambier,
he was the designated driver.
What? Because we'd had a couple of sherbets, or
Well, yeah.
a couple of travellers on the way down.
A couple of travellers on the way down.
I
and then-
see. So
And then, and Andrew never had a drink in his life. Doesn't drink at all, which is
Lucky.
very, very good. And,
very lucky.
And so we said you take us down, and
You could actually employ Andrew as your driver. Put him on full wages.
I used to have a little mate that used to take me around back in
So,
the day.
anyhow, you, the three of you.
Yeah, so we went
drove-
down. No, it was. You know what? It was. I like going to the local footy, but it's.
Oh, you would have been a star. Did you go to the local
yeah,
footy?
yeah, I
Well,
did,
you
on
would
the
have
Saturday.
been mob duck.
No, I wouldn't say you're mobbed. It was a good.
They said,
Good afternoon. You've
Who's
got to
that
just
over
you've
there?
just
They
got
said,
to
is that
have a
Wayne
couple-
Carey? They said, it couldn't be. It is, that's why. Look, it's that duck.
No, it was. You know what? It was all in all good. But then driving back, I actually had to get myself up for
So
a beautiful
hang
Mother's
on,
Day.
duck. So you had a few travellers going over. What time just leave to go to Mount Gambier?
9:30, 10 o'clock
in the morning.
Yes.
So you actually absolutely would have a traveller at 9:30.
Not then. No.
No, just about halfway
Didn't
across.
have one until
Past 10.
about 11ish.
So you arrived at, you're doing
Yeah,
three
got there
sheets.
about 2:30.
Doing three sheets to the breeze when you got to
And
Mount
then-
Gambier.
and then,
they would have said, "G'day, Duck. Hi, mate, how are
It
you?"
was good. It was very
Yeah,
good.
so
It's a
anyhow,
good trip.
So then you had a barbecue that night, did you? Or
Yes, we did actually.
Did you?
Yeah, nice big crayfish,
drinks?
bit of meat, couple more.
Nothing else?
Very mature. No, very. I was actually in bed before midnight.
With No, it's a joke, Duck. I mean,
with the
seriously.
dog actually.
With the
the,
what?
the dog.
So that's a name.
Yeah.
So,
so
I'm only joking, Duck. So then
Now,
you
listen, stop.
All right.
Enough of that.
You had a very big night there.
We had a good couple of days.
Just
with good
drinking?
people. Yeah.
What's
listen to you alluding to absolutely everything.
So-
What about? Well, tell us about your road.
Yeah,
You and Sue
go
went
ahead.
to Horsham.
Yeah, we
So what? So
we were half pissed
do you
at the
get?
time.
Do you get any?
Drugs?
No. Do you get any dingbats? Do you get any dingbats when you go to country areas or anywhere for that matter? I've never asked you this. Do you get anyone that is a smart
Heckle?
Alec?
When I speak?
No, not when you speak. When you speak, do you ever get anyone that is a real smart Alec to you?
Well, what happens is, as Tommy Hafey used to say, when the booze is in, the brain's out. I go to these functions and they start off great, and by the end of the night, people are pissed. Couple of young blokes come up and manhandled me after, just in revelry and merriment, and I said, "Mate, don't touch me, please. Please do." They said, "Why not?" And so it got a bit. I said, "Mate, don't." It's me. I said, "Don't touch me again, all right?" And then there's a little crowd gathered around. They could see this was going to turn. And the boys, God love them, they're fucking pissed they were. So I got shepherded and escorted into another room. I said, "Don't have to put me in here. Tell those kids, I'll tell them." I said, "Mate, what are you fucking touching me for?" I said, "Speak to me if you're..." And then
Yeah, but they're like me. They're just touchy-feely sort of guys, you know?
it was good.
As
So-
long as it's done in the right spirit.
Well,
Right,
that's right.
You don't have to... Yeah. But I wondered that. I thought, because you're right. Everyone has a couple of sherbets, and all of a sudden you get a bit merry, and
they get
things can
merry.
escalate.
They get fly blown.
Yes, you get fly blown.
Christ.
Well, sometimes you've got to just do. Yeah, that's why you join in. So then you just roll.
But if you don't drink,
you then roll with.
Yeah, with the punches.
What they're doing.
If you don't drink, though, it's a bit of a problem because you don't join in with their present state of mind or their state of how they're acting. It's all right if you get pissed with them.
And you've got a big week this week, haven't you?
Yes. In fact, yes.
And when are you having your operation? You're having another.
Week.
That's next week.
I would be having it this week, except I've got things on at the end of the week.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So
you're busy.
So Duck, I hope you haven't tried to smother me from asking you what you were doing in Mount Gambier. So you met the plasterers up there.
Yeah. MG play. Yeah. Stayed at his place.
And Frenchie.
Yeah, Frenchie.
How did he get
the
his name?
brother-in-law. Last name French.
Oh, there you are. That'll be right. That's all right. So you had a baby, and then you went to the local football.
Went
and
to the
you were
local
mobbed.
footy. Yep.
You would have taken all the focus off the two sides playing. They would have even been watching the game. They would have been watching you.
Don't worry about the footy now. We've discussed that.
All right.
We've gone there.
And then you drove home.
And then drove home. Well, I didn't drive home.
No.
I drove home.
No.
I slept half the way.
Have some travellers on the way home?
No. I'd had enough by Sunday lunchtime. Then went for a beautiful dinner on Sunday evening, and at the Albert Park Hotel.
I see.
Again, it's good food. It's good food.
Oh, so and with your present partner?
Yes, Jess and the kids.
Yes, Jess and the kids.
Yeah, there's all three of them.
And one of the mothers was overseas, luckily, and the other one was. Did
Sally.
You call in, I
don't know. No, Sally probably. Actually, I haven't spoken. She's probably
you haven't
in
spoken to
Wagga.
her on Mother's Day.
No, well, I'll tell you what I did do. I gave my eldest daughter some coin to buy her a Mother's Day present, and that which brings up another question: when do you stop having to give your children? It's not a bad topic. When is it time to say you can buy your mother a present? I don't have to.
Probably depend on how old is your daughter.
Well, 19. So that's why
she got a job.
She's at uni, but she does work as well. But so, what is the correct time to cut that off and say you've got to do it?
Probably if she's not fiscally strapped. If she hasn't got any money to a name, perhaps you would. Wouldn't mollycoddle her once she's earning a wage, would you?
No,
got to stand on her own 2 feet.
It's a question. What is there an age where you say, no, you've got to do that now? Is there? I would have thought 18 is probably it.
Yeah, but if she's at university and hasn't got any money, I suppose.
Well, she is working.
All right. Well, then.
Anyway, Ella, I'm not having a go at you. No. I'm just saying that maybe next year, fork out.
That's similar to. I know I've said this before. That's similar to. Oh, my daughter. Oh, she's a trick. Yeah, she doorbell goes. She used to come out and hold her dress up and say, "Hello, come in, Daddy's home." So, how old was she when she did that? She was 34.
Another dad joke.
Well, that's what. That's
anyway.
Yeah,
what about
funny?
The football on the weekend?
Oh, Duck. I'm going to keep. I don't. No one can give a stuff what we think. Or in fact,
there was some big results.
You would be amazed at how many people agree. I'm not putting you in, but if you want to side with me, our take on the football. I watched St Kilda on the weekend to try and beat Carlton. Mm-hmm. They were with 5 minutes to go. They needed to kick 2 goals. They had no intention of kicking the ball up the ground. They ran the clock down themselves by chipping it across the back line, and you thought, now, kick it up, down the ground. No, back they went. They ran the clock down themselves, and then I saw Geelong down at Cardinia Park, whatever that ground's called now.
Yes.
Cardinia Park.
GMHBA or whatever.
Yeah.
Shell
used
Stadium.
To be Simmons Home. It used to be
Home.
Ford Stadium. Geelong are trying to beat the Greater West Sydney. In the last 5 minutes of the game, they would run the ball down and then chip it over to the side. And I thought, for Christ's sake, kick it at the goals. Please do something. And then seasoned players, Mr. who is fantastic, Mr. Dangerfield, who's fantastic, but would just suddenly hand pass at the most inopportune times, and then the full forward, what's his name, that came from the Greater West Sydney? Jeremy Cameron could have had a kick. He kicked it out to the... What is going... Why? Why?
It is fascinating. It's actually turning into a very interesting year because you're serious. North Melbourne drew with Brisbane.
I know.
You would never have picked that
never.
Or you just would have never picked that for starters.
Why did they? Did they take the game on, or what? Did they still dribble it around the side?
I just watched the minis earlier in the week. As you know, if I miss a game, I just catch up on it there. So, you know what? That's a good effort, but once again, it's just the competition. Like, you know, you got teams beating other teams that you don't expect to win.
There's a bit of light in the tunnel for North, you might get a call from the hierarchy to go down to North.
Hey, why? To do what?
I don't know, but surely
they're back.
They might think we need some stern leadership down there. You might get a call to come down.
And do what though?
I don't know, but they might think now, well, let's bolster up, let's shore up the personnel at the club, let's have some names reintroduced into the club. You might get he might have a meeting with some of the committee down there.
No, I wouldn't have thought.
Wouldn't you?
No. I love. Now, hey, what's your latest? What's your latest?
So you're not going to pick that up?
No.
All right.
I'm not going to pick it up, but no. I will. You know what? I'll pick it up. I will pick that up next week. So because
there could be a meeting in hand.
Because it's going to be pretty hard to pick it up when it hasn't been picked up.
No. Very well.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I still can't get over or picture you
me selling
walking
hairdressing
around
products?
door to door. Well, not door to door, selling hair products.
God almighty.
I still can't. It just blows my mind.
Sue Stanley OAM. Just get a bottle, anything. Just get a container out there. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be hair. It could be fly spray. Come here. Give it right. So, bring it over here.
Glenn, 20.
Yeah.
You're a bit of a germer.
Don't worry about what it is. Don't have to shake it up. Now, I'm going to do this, right? Just stand by. You don't have to put the camera on me. I'm just going over here. Right. Walk in the door.
I'm busy.
Hey?
I'm busy.
No. Hello, Muriel. It's Sam Newman from Technique Distributors. Nice to see you again, Sam.
Technique, was that what it was called? Technique?
Yeah, it was. Doug Wade and I
Did
had
you have
it for
a good?
a decade.
Did you have a good technique?
Hey?
Did you have a good technique?
Well, we were
Were
very...
Were you technically sound
we
in
were
all
very
all areas?
We didn't pretend we knew in depth about the product, but we knew what it did.
Was it made from animal cruelty? Animal like
no
being cruel
animals
to
were
animals?
harmed.
No animals.
No,
animals
we used to test it on humans. So
you would have had a clue. Where was it made? China.
It was made in Sydney. It was an Australian product. It was called Delva.
And what was in it? What did it do?
Well, it either coloured your hair. It was either a semi-permanent or a permanent. There was a range of hairdressing products.
Yeah.
Designed specifically for ladies' hairdressers and not chemists.
And there was no chemicals in it. No animals.
Of course,
harmed.
there was fucking chemicals in it. Everything's got chemicals in it. So I walk in and I say, "Hello, Muriel." I said, "Now we have a special on this product today. This is a conditioner. You would know it. You've bought it before. We've got a 13 for 12 price on it today."
But why would I buy that over the competition? I've been using the competition for 10 years.
Well, why don't you give this a try? We believe it's more competitively priced, and we have great testimonials. And this,
I'd prefer to pay the extra $1 and have a better product.
Well, you don't know that it's better. You don't know that this is not as good, and you might like to try it. And there's more margin in it for you. It's more competitively priced, and we have a deal on it. Why don't you try it? And in fact, if you don't like it, we'll take it back from you.
And what and who's doing this? And what's your sidekick doing while you're doing this speech? Is he just walking around the salon? Is he just perusing the?
No, Doug was in the office doing orders and paying.
No, I mean when you go in.
No, he didn't travel with me. I travelled on my own.
Just the one hetero was travelling by himself all around to the salons.
Doug was chatting up the. No, Doug was actually speaking to the people who called on him in the warehouse. It was a wholesaling business we had. What am I going through this for? So why is it unusual?
It's fascinating.
Plenty of representatives from Schwarzkopf and L'Oreal and all plenty of men travel around selling products.
I think more so now. We're talking as when you were in the 70s. I don't reckon there would have been too many. I reckon you would have been a one-off.
What men selling hairdressing products?
Not in the 70s. It wouldn't have been a lot.
You stupid boy.
How many?
What?
I don't think there would have been a lot, Sam. Especially one playing VFL footy at the same time.
I would say
in actual fact, I reckon you were the only VFL.
95% of the reps on the road selling hairdressing products were males.
Really?
Yeah, we used to congregate after hours and have a few drinks and chat about things. And then they would go on their way. Sometimes you'd go into a stop and the bloke you'd had just a couple of drinks with, he would be there from the opposition, and you'd wait for him to go out, and then you'd go in and then you'd try and sell the product. We, as I said, we were very successful and actually got bought out. And I won't tell you that story about how we got bought out. Doug told it up at Horsham. It was very, very humorous.
So you've made that a part of your repertoire now.
I haven't, because
the hair product.
I haven't products. I haven't made it a part of my repertoire at all.
What are you doing with your? What have you been? Had your head out the window, driving or something? It's fluffed up like. Have a look how fluffed.
You should be so lucky. Your hair could fluff up. You're going bald.
If I, you know what? If I had, it does look wiggish actually. I know it's not.
Oh, you want to have another pull?
No, I know it's not, but it's got
What's
a bit
wrong
of.
With my hair?
No, it's got a bit of wig about it. It's got a bit of possum about it today.
Well,
you know what? It could quite possibly be the best wig I've seen. It's
it looks like a wig, doesn't it?
Because you've got actually no like hairline, like.
Do you believe this? Look at this.
Okay. Yeah.
So Duck's gone from just tapping me on the wrist now to actually massaging my head.
It could be, no. It does.
What do you mean?
Fake look about it.
It's got a fake look about it.
Now, listen, you're getting your...
Now, hang on.
No, I just want to talk seriously, I am actually going to have a full medical the next next day or so.
Why, Duck?
I tell you why, because I was, you know how they say, well, once you get over 50, which, you know, they say go and get a checkup, and you know, when you're in the shower, you're meant to feel for things.
What?
And you know, so you're feeling around, but I just noticed like. I had a couple of
lumps, fatty cysts.
Freckles. No, not fatty cysts. Like freckles. Well, they're just freckles I hadn't noticed before.
Yeah. Oh.
And it'd be fair to say I've checked myself out fairly thoroughly over the years.
And you've had a second and third opinion from people who've checked you out.
And I just noticed I had a couple of freckles there that I'd never
lesions.
Noticed before. No, they're not lesions. They're just freckles. But so I thought, go and get a full medical. So. Getting all the bloods done, checked thoroughly right through.
Have you had this done yet?
No, I'm getting it done.
I see.
Once I get it,
and do you think they might cut some of the freckles out?
No, I might get while I'm in there.
That was my next point. Why don't you get that fucking wart cut off your face? That's what I would do for a
The
start.
beauty spot.
Mate, you would be amazed at how that would reshape and remodel
Really?
and give you confidence. If
give
you
me-
cut that off,
Do you think I'd-
get a plastic surgeon just to stitch it up,
you think
and
I'd-
no one would notice it.
You know what?
Because that's the only thing I look at when I look at you now.
I might get some. Might get a little.
put advertising on it.
I might get a bit of.
You could put
Should I?
M&G
should I-
plasterers
Where
on
do you
it.
get? Where do you get your work done? Where do you get? You know, where do you?
Where I don't get work done
Yes,
anymore.
you've had work done.
I didn't say I haven't had
I
work
know,
done.
so,
I've told
but
it's common knowledge.
You've
but I
had
don't
work
get
done,
work done.
but you don't get any more work done.
That's correct. I
When's
haven't
the
had any
last
work done
time? When's the
30 years ago.
30. Oh,
Well, hang on.
I find that hard.
30 years ago.
30 years ago.
Yeah, 30 years ago.
That's the last time you had any work whatsoever.
Well, when I got punched.
You have not got so you got wrinkles from there down, but nothing from where your wig has been put on, like up. There's not one like wrinkle.
Well,
People
when
think
you
I've
get-
had work done. I've got more wrinkles in a wrinkle factory.
Well, Duck, when you get work done, the idea is to get work done is they stretch and tighten and pull whatever they're going to do, and that.
Yeah, but I've never had that done.
I'm saying I'm saying I've had that done, and
You've got to
say
try everything once, and so for all and people know I've said this openly. I many years ago got talked into having some Botox, and might have gone a bit, might have went.
Might have
on
went
that
what?
occasion, but that was a long time ago.
So you don't have anything done to your head?
No.
Except put stuff in your hair?
I just take tablet called
And colour?
Mosh.
And
I
you
haven't
put-
got any colour in it.
Yes, you have.
Look at it's got grey there. I might put a rinse through it actually tonight. Might
And you wax yourself?
Hey?
You say you don't touch yourself up. You've touched yourself up more than anyone else. You go to the gym trying to get abs. You try and build your muscles up by going to the gym. So you wear tight shirts.
You go to the gym and you do those things because for your
what?
health.
Yeah.
For your health. To be healthy. Plus, I've got young kids. You've got to be carrying prams and kids and I can actually carry do the groceries. I can carry every bag in one hit because you go to the gym, so you don't have to do repeat trips. But there is a slight vanity to what we do.
Yeah, I have a lot of people say that when they're travelling, they listen to this podcast. They find it very entertaining. I've got a feeling if anyone listens to the first half hour of this, they'll probably be saying, I wonder when they're going to get onto some subjects. All
yeah.
we've...
No,
they
because-
know they enjoy that, Duck, because they've seen a new side of you. So you're having a full makeover with your body. You fear that you might be sort of contaminated with some cysts.
I just you just want to get checked out. You're meant to get your prostate done.
Yes.
You got to for all the little freckles and all that. You get them
In case
checked
they
out.
happen to be
And
sunspots.
melanoma. Yeah,
Yes.
correct. So all of those things. Actually, a good mate of and an ex-teammate of mine, Fridge Roberts, has just gone through
Fridge Roberts.
from some chemo and stuff. So got to
has he
catch
got
up.
cancer?
No, he's had a few melanomas,
yes.
which he's through the other side hopefully. But he's a great man. So the point is, anyone out, we are elderly men now, Sam. Well, and so you say you've got to go and get a health check.
What do you mean we
check
are elderly men,
prostate.
Sam? And you pointed at me like
Well, you're more elderly.
Of course I am
Yeah,
more
of course
elderly.
you are.
Yes.
But I've
But I
said
got
to you
my
before,
hair.
I wouldn't mind looking like you at the age of 79.
Wouldn't you?
No, I'd be pretty happy if.
How do you reckon you look when
I'm
you're
not sure you're travelling all that well on the foot.
No, I'm not travelling well
No,
on the
the
foot.
foot's-
My foot's stuffed. So, Doug, when you're 80, so let's say, how do you reckon you'll look? You'll be as bald as a badger?
No, I was
You will?
actually had less hair. I had less hair 15 years ago.
No,
Then I
what?
started taking mosh.
Oh, yeah, mosh, yeah. Well, you will be, I'm telling
As
you.
long as I keep popping those
Yeah.
popping those pills, it'll just remain the same.
Since you've been doing
hasn't
this, how long
changed.
have you been doing? We've
Hasn't
been doing
changed.
this 8 weeks,
Yeah,
10 weeks.
Yeah, but I remember I missed a couple of tablets. Remember?
Yeah,
Around
your hair's
last
going
week.
back. It's gone back appreciably. It's a bit like. Did you know this? Here's our first subject. Did you know that they've just announced that the ice flow, the ice and the iceberg, there's more ice has regenerated itself at the poles. Remember how they said it was receding due to climate change? They said it's now ramping up and there's more of it. There's more ice.
How's that happened?
Because the whole climate thing was still is an absolute fraud. It is an absolute fraud. The renewable energy push, get rid of fossil fuels, get rid of CO2. It is an absolute hoax for the social elites to just milk the world by this campaign of wandering around saying that we're killing the planet. The planet's going great.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. So
have you watched the documentary with Morgan Freeman? Who I think
he's got some freckles.
It's actually called Planet Earth.
Yep.
Funnily enough, and he talks about the evolution of Earth and all the catastrophes that have happened over time, and obviously Ice Age, fire, the meteor,
dinosaurs.
all of those dinosaurs,
Ice
all
Age.
that. Yep, meteors, all different. We're actually due, for another catastrophe.
That's right, and
that's what they say.
They'll put it down to people driving cars, petrol cars.
Yeah,
That's what they'll do.
Yeah.
It is an absolute fraud and hoax. And the government, the recently elected government again, still perpetrate this hoax about climate change and saving the planet.
I will say, though, he does make it quite clear at the end of the documentary that humans have made the most difference, obviously, to planet Earth. And
they have, in what way?
Well,
not contributing to the health of the air or the planet.
Well, he was alluding to part of that as well. Yeah,
was he?
Yeah.
So he is of the opinion that we are destroying the planet.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah. I think there's no doubt it's a contributor, but I concur with you, and that is I don't think it's as much as a contributor as what it's no doubt.
Very true. Did we finish on your health? Are you having that?
Yeah, so when I'm having it, actually, you know Harry, you've heard of Harry Ungley?
Yeah, I have.
Ex-North Melbourne doctor,
yes.
AFL doctor, great man. So I go into. It used to be called the Melbourne Sports Medical Clinic. Now I think it's called Healthcare on Collins. Healthcare on Collins.
Oh, they've got a more.
No, it's a one
salubrious name.
So it's a one-stop shop. By the way, actually, I'm glad you brought this up because you know what, I am going to get checked out. So I'm going to get the prostate done. I've decided rather than get the blood one, I'll go the other.
Checked out?
I'll go the other prostate. But I actually, because as you know, I was crook last week, the week before. I think I might have
inguinal hernia.
Given myself a hernia.
Yeah, I've had one of those.
Yeah, I've had one before. Yes, I've had mesh put there, but.
Have you?
I was, yes, but I think I might have done myself a little bit of damage again. I've either done that or I've just torn some fibres in my stomach.
Do you like me to inspect them?
And the good thing about going in there, it's a one-stop shop. So you go in, you can, if you need a scan or you need an MRI, whatever it may be, you can get X-ray, you can go straight in and get it done.
I see.
So if you, for instance, you could go in and they could take an X-ray of you and they'd realise that you are built of chalk, and they would see all of the broken bones that you've had over the years with all the hairline fractures. What is amazing about ex-sports people wouldn't know this. If you go in and X-ray our hands or our feet, it will show fractures. Actually, it'll show hairline fractures. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it does.
No.
It does.
Dr. Duck.
But I'm going to get the absolute full checkup.
Yep. Good on you.
Yeah.
Well, can I tell you one thing not to do that they say? Do you ever drink tap water? Water out of the tap when you go to a restaurant? Or
Well, Sam, that's the only, growing up in Wagga Wagga and obviously growing up in a time where That's all you did drink was tap water.
Well, this could be a
and
reason.
generally it was someone else's tap water in their front yard. I'd go and
Well, this could be one of the reasons why your hair is rushing back on your
Falling
forehead,
out.
or
Yeah.
you've got a wart on the side of your face.
No, I tell you why I blame my old man for. Well, one because he was bald, but the other reason why I blame him is because when we got Nits, when we were a
Nits?
kid, when we got Nits, right, he would literally
You sound like Rodney Rood.
rather-
He got fucking nits.
rather than when we got them, he didn't go and buy the nice shampoo that you would have been selling or anything like that.
Metho.
He poured kerosene on our heads. Then our heads would start burning. The nits would be biting the absolute crap out of your head.
So you've had nits.
And
I've
then he'd
never
take
had nits.
Nits, no, they only go in clean hair. Not possums. they don't go in synthetic hair. So that's why. So now it's coming. You've never had nits. Have you had crabs? Did you have crabs back in the day? You would have
Moving
crabs.
right along.
No, but if you would have had
The
crabs.
crabs, we used to call that the galloping dandruff.
Yeah. You would have had crabs because you had bush. That's why you take that off, you don't get crab. But anyway, nits don't like synthetic hair. So they're not going.
Hang on, nits. So they're little things that grow in your hair.
I would get an email, an alert, probably
They had crabs.
20 times a year. We get an alert saying head lice is going around the school. So it is still a
Your dad
it's
would
still
go
a
down by a gallon
real
of
thing.
Kero.
Mate, pour it over our heads. The nits start biting like
Hope
crap.
he wasn't smoking while he was next to you doing it.
Exactly.
Be like burning off the scrub.
So we and then he'd shave our heads after. So I'm thinking you probably could have done the shave before the kerosene went on. It would have got rid of the nits. But
Your dad used to pour kerosene over you, shave your head to get rid of nits. This is a different world we're living in
what
here.
was even this? So if you got the hair check, so they discovered there was nits at North Wagga Primary. I'll never forget this one in particular. So they put you all out on the oval, like you're some sort of you're going to spread this crazy. So you all sit out and they have teachers and they're going through your hair and they go, yep, he's one. Put him over there. Yep, he's one.
A nit comb.
No, they actually had people checking your hair at the
nits.
school for nits. And then if you're a nit kid, right, you obviously got stood over there. You're not a nit kid. So there was this time where I didn't have a nits, but you got sent home. I wasn't such a good school person. So if I didn't have them,
Truancy.
I would go up to a mate that did have them and would pick them out and I'd just put... get them in there. So then you got sent home. That's
fantastic.
You've never
manipulate your head.
So you've never had it's a
I've
known,
never had nits.
It's a known fact. That's unbelievable. It's a known. You would mates have nits. Sue, tell me you've had nits. Yeah, of course. I've had them heaps of times, but they only go in real hair and clean hair apparently.
Don't keep going on about my hair.
And by the way,
real.
what's wrong? Why did you just screw your nose up when I said have you had dribs and drabs before?
Crabs. I was getting onto that.
Yeah.
I'm moving right along. We went from nits, we went from this head down to this head down here. So did anyone check for crabs? If you had anyone oversee your groin down there for crabs, and how'd you get rid of them? Did your dad pour Kero on them?
Fly spray. Just just the strongest fly spray. No, I've never had.
Is this why you denude yourself of
that's
hairs
why
down there?
So for anyone out, that's why you got to wax.
exfoliate.
You wax down.
Yeah, so you don't get crabs.
No, you wax down because it's just a cleaner, nicer look for your partner.
Is it?
It gives you a little bit of extra
length, perceptive,
and it's just I don't know. It's just it's more of a, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I think that the waxed versions are
So here's a man who sat here and said, you've had a bit of work done. No, I haven't had any work done. You've had more work done on your body than anyone I know. Well, you said you've had a go at Botox. You've got mosh pit stuff in your hair.
Waxing's not...
waxing's not what?
Well, that's not a cosmetic. That's not cosmetic, as in I'm not injecting... some sort of liquid or having an operation, liquid. Having my head pulled back like Homer Abe Simpson on The Simpsons.
30 years. I told you why I did that. Because the bloke, I told you why I had that done. I didn't go in there and say I want a facelift.
And you've had a nose job?
Yeah, I've told you.
You've had your ears pinned?
No, I haven't. I haven't had my ears pinned. I told you I had all that done after...
Oh, you got circumcised when you were 10?
What's that got to do with the facelift?
Well, most people get circumcised at 2 weeks.
That's right, they do.
But you at 10 realised that cosmetically you weren't happy with it, so you went and got it changed at 10. So you're already thinking...
Me and Richard Branson, I interviewed...
You know what's funny about that?
Richard Branson got circumcised when he was 16.
So while every other kid out there is getting nits washed out of their hair at the age of 10, you've decided, you already knew then how important that was going to be to you, and you thought, I want to get that circumcised.
No, I gave it a name back in the when I was about 12. So, I didn't want most of my major decisions being made by someone who didn't have a name.
Well, it's funny how
It's a joke.
I know, but yeah, it's quite it's interesting. So you've had more cosmetics. You've had that done. You've had that done.
What? Been circumcised?
You'll be getting next. You'll be getting a butt enlargement or something. So,
like the Kardashians.
I don't know.
Why do people want to have fats pumped into their ass so that they look horrendous? You get rest a tray of drinks on the backside.
There's our boy. How'd you go the other night, actually? Didn't you go to a big charity function the other night?
Yeah.
Well, talk about it, because charity functions, you do a lot of good work for charity.
Yeah, I do. Oh, no, when I say I do, I don't.
You have done?
No,
You've done a lot of work.
No, don't broadcast what you do or what you don't do.
I know, but you've done a lot of good work. How did that go? How did it go, by the way?
Well, I went to this very big function at the Crown. You know how this went, don't you?
How many? No, I don't.
I went to this very big function at the Crown Palladium.
That's why I rang him on the way here to ask him how it went.
Oh, what did he say?
No, he didn't answer. That's why he's calling back.
Yeah. Well, I went to this because my son here, who owns Top Dog Entertainment.
Good-looking boy too.
He is a good-looking lad.
That goes to the same gym.
Sat at his table because he offered the function that we were at, the charity, a day on the boat with Sue and I for guests, and it was to be auctioned. And I went because I was told that I would get up and actually help sell it, because I was the person driving the boat and I could explain everything about the boat. So the auction came on and I'm sitting in the, because it was hard to get there because of my foot, I could hardly walk. So I'm sitting there and the auction came on and I thought, no, well, shortly they'll probably ask me. That's why I was there. But no, they sold the boat and knocked it down to someone, and that was it. I thought,
that's a good result. You didn't have to do anything.
I was there on the basis that I
was
going to try and sell the function.
Right.
And what they missed out on, of course, is by me not being asked about it, there was quite spirited bidding, and it got up to a reasonable price. I thought a very good price. And what I was going to do, had I been on stage and been there because I was asked to be there, I was going to say, well, in that case, if you'll pay that amount and you'll pay that amount, we'll do 2 boat trips at different times, and they would have made twice the money.
Yeah.
But of course, if you don't have the person up there who can say that, they wouldn't know that. So what they did themselves out of was twice as much money as they would have made, because I was just still sitting in my seat.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
So then I left.
Oh, you left straight after?
I did, Because I was there for that reason, and my foot was actually killing me.
We spoke the other day when we had lunch, which you bought, by the way, which is delicious, that soup that you bought me. I should have ordered more if I knew you were going to shout. But have you found out what you're doing grand final morning?
Tell you what we're doing, Duck. We're going to wind this up. We've gone. We're going to wind this up. And we're going to come back because we have spoken about nothing. We've actually spoken about nothing.
Yeah, we have. We've spoken that you've got synthetic hair.
You've never had crabs.
You've never had.
And you've had
nits. You've never.
Why is it unusual not to have had nits before?
Because I don't know anyone that hasn't had nits.
Well, look here. Well, pleased to meet you. I'm one of them. Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I reckon you've had them. I just don't reckon you might have known.
Oh, I see. I would have known a thing itchy here, and when I brush my hair, things fall out onto my dinner plate.
The more I look. Have you been to Turkey lately or anything like that?
Turkey?
Yeah.
As in
have you
Istanbul?
Gone to Turkey? Yeah, have you been to Turkey?
Is Istanbul the capital of Turkey?
Have you been to Turkey?
No.
It has got a synthetic look about it.
What do you mean it's got a synthetic?
I know, but it just, you know what, it almost looks like you've been on a trampoline and you've got that electricity going through there. Anyway, all good. You've never had nits because you got synthetic hair.
That's probably why I've got a profuse growth of hair because it's not been contaminated with nits, chomping away at the roots. We're coming back.